Houston Rockets fans, you're gonna love the image I selected because it's James Harden getting double teamed in the James Harden era where you guys had the craziest offensive player potentially in the last, what, 10 years, maybe 5 years, maybe, that the league has seen. Um, and he was unstoppable. That this image really shows another team that was just trying to find an answer for this player that no one could guard over these few years. And this is, I don't know if you remember this sort of play. This was when Rubio's trying to guard Harden, but he's doing all these different things. It was like, remember Harden used to shoot like 15 free throws a game or something crazy like that, because anything like you touched him, it would be a whistle, right? So then, Rubio or the defender would put their hands behind their back. You'd play him from his side, you'd play him from his hip, you'd play him from behind. You're like, how do you sort of throw him off the game? Where do you send your double team? If you send a double, he would make a pass. You rack up double digits in assists. You give him a lane, you just go hard to the basket, you hack him there, he shoots his free throws as well, and he makes them at like 85%. So it's like how do you stop this guy? He was averaging 35 points a game. And I think for Houston Rockets, at least in recent history, and I know you've gone for a little bit of a little bit of one going a bit further back, that yeah, you guys had this player that was unstoppable, and you guys won a lot of games. You guys underachieved. That's not shocking. That's not new. So many franchises do that every single year, right? So you can't really sort of fight that one too hard. Yeah, you just fall into that same boat. But you could at least argue that you had this guy that not only was I guess not only iconic for your franchise, but ultimately James Harden in his prime. If you take away all that hate in that sense, man, this guy was crazy.
Yeah, look, I think you're talking about the league having to change rules for him because his ability to draw fouls, just the free reign that Mike D'Antoni making another appearance in these videos, gave James Harden. He had the highest scoring average, I think, since Kobe, and you know the amount of threes that he hits. He's got potential to be top three all time in threes. It was a pretty good team, right? And they even gave the Golden State Warriors a run for their money when no one else really wanted to challenge them. So great stuff. Can't argue it. I think it's an interesting photo that you picked Rubio from behind. I think another one for me is like the Wesley Johnson ankle breaker. That's pretty iconic, where he licks his lips on the three because he's got that much time to shoot it. Um, but lots of cool stuff. That's probably another pod topic about James Harden. I went with the photo you picked for Orlando because this team actually won the finals, and I feel like the Elijah one Houston Rockets, they two-peated, right? There's not a lot of teams that also win back-to-back championships, and they did it in the era that Michael Jordan was dominating. The only reason why I think a lot of people gloss over it is because Michael Jordan retired, and so I think the NBA just disappeared for that period of time. And he was still there. He was still there leading Houston. He was so good that he even brought Clyde Drexler over from Portland, and then Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen also joined him. Like he was a magnet, right? I don't know how he ended up in Toronto. I probably need to do a deep dive on how that ended up happening. But Elijah Wan is the Houston Rockets champion. He deserves the statues because he's brought you two championships, and that's why I picked that image.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I just felt that I think here's the footnote. If you want me to add something to this, take away championships. And I guess we're talking about Houston right now. So obviously you've picked the championship and the two that the Elijah one and Rockets won in that point in time. What else stands out about this franchise?
I guess the T-Mac and Yao Ming, or even the Yao Ming era in general, that was huge for the Chinese market, and that was, Houston became Asia's favorite team. Um, but yes, outside of that, it's a little bit it's a little bit tricky. I think this is a franchise. We've talked about a lot of franchises that have had moments, and Houston's probably had less moments, but that finals championship, and then obviously the Houston Rockets with James Harden at the helm, those two moments are so big alone that you do think of Houston in a positive light. Whereas a team like Portland who've probably had the same level of all-stars come through and franchise players and moments, because they haven't got that chip, at least in recent years. No one cares.
It's you're right there, and I guess like the we talked about Utah earlier today, right? And they had two finals appearances too. They've yet to win a ring, I believe, and they obviously lost both of those finals to the Bulls. How would you perceive a franchise like Utah if they had won two? See, that's the difference, isn't it? I think that's a huge aspect of winning, which sounds obvious in sports, right? It's like now the Nuggets, you go, wow, that's a winning franchise, not only because they won a lot of games over the last few years, but they got a ring this year. Same with the Bucks. I guess, the Bucks got that ring, and now you go, that's a winning franchise. I guess on the other side of the ledger, that's your Phoenix Suns, right? You guys fell short a few years ago, never won one yet, you know. I think that's where the Rockets are fortunate in that sense that they had a larger one and they got that job done in that window where MJ was playing baseball. Um, I don't know. I'm so surprised you didn't select a photo of MJ playing baseball.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.